It's got to be the longest minute in the world, huh?
Yeah.
You think your top clock's frozen?
That would be funny. We're here an hour later.
Okay. This is a call to order for the Sparks Planning Commission meeting on Thursday, July 16th at 6 p.m. For the record, we're using the clock on the wall that's to my left. We'll have a roll call.
Commissioner Hewins, absent. Commissioner Camerota,
Here.
Commissioner Lee,
Here?
Commissioner Nowicki.
Here.
Commissioner Peterson,
Here.
Commissioner Bowles,
Here.
Commissioner Sperber,
Here?
Assistant City Attorney Jeff Thornley,
Here.
Acting City Planner Jim Ryan.
Here.
Okay. We, if there's any, this is a public meeting, so if there are any public comment, if anyone would like to come forward, there will also be another opportunity to make a public comment after the specific agenda item, in which there are three. Anyone wish to come forward? There being none, I'd like to call to approve the agenda.
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda approved. I'd like to approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Any opposed?
No, but also I need to abstain. I wasn't.
And I as well, since I was absent.
Okay, acting,
Call for the vote.
the minutes,
Yes, you should abstain too.
so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any announcements and committee reports, Jim?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Would like to announce Commissioner Frank Peterson. He was recently recommended by Mayor Martini to serve the extended term or complete the term of Commissioner Sanders as she resigned from her post. Commissioner Peterson was, as I said, recommended at the Sparks City Council meeting by Mayor Martini and confirmed by the Sparks City Council. So Commissioner Peterson, as you all met earlier, is here to finish off that term. Do you have anything, Commissioner?
No, I just glad to be aboard. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Okay.
Next item.
Are there any informational items?
Yes, Chairman. The Regional Planning Commission meeting will be held on the 22nd of July. Coming up, there are two important items in the city of Reno regarding the Ranchera project, I think projects of regional significance. Commissioner Bowles will be absent from that meeting, and therefore the alternates will be expected to attend. Our first alternate is you, Commissioner Camerota, for serving in Commissioner Bowles' position.
That's Tuesday, isn't it?
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
That is a conflict for me. Do we have a second alternate?
We do have second alternate, but I don't remember who the second alternate is.
I think
It's Jamie. Okay.
Let me,
there's Jamie.
Who's the third alternate?
It would be, Mitch.
Mitch, would you be able to attend that?
What time's the meeting at?
Six.
I don't get off until 6 on Wednesday.
let's see if Commissioner Ferens is back in town. I'll call him tomorrow. Or can you, should you?
Well, I believe regional planning will be contacting you, Commissioner. So if you will coordinate with them to try to contact
Sure.
Commissioner Fewens, then you guys work that out.
Okay. So James is number 2 and Mitch is number 3.
And Frank would be number 4.
Yeah, I would hate to put
Poor Frank. Yeah, brand new.
Commissioner Peterson in that case. My recommendation to the board would be that we would leave one seat absent. It wouldn't be fair we haven't got a chance, Commissioner Peterson, to talk about the regional plan at this point.
Yeah.
Threw me out there.
It would be up to you.
For the record, I'm leaving town Tuesday morning.
Like I said, it's up to you guys to work out.
Yeah, let's see if we could get a third person, because I think there should be three on something of regional significance. We have a project, I think. So let me know if, maybe we can do something
Yeah.
to get a third person.
Call you.
Give me a call.
Sure. Okay.
Commissioner Camerata, Chairman of Camerata, I also wanted to explain that at this week's city council meeting, the abandonment of the Kylie Northeast Golf Communities was finalized, and the Planning Commission did recommend to the city council to do such. So they followed the Planning Commission's recommendation. Karen Melby presented that item.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, so let's open the public hearing.
So we're now going to open our public hearing. There are 3 items on the agenda. The first item is PCN 15025. Ms. Melby, Karen Melby is our presenter. Welcome, Ms. Melby.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Karen Melby, Senior Planner. Before you today is consideration and possible action on a request for a tentative and final amendment to the Sparks Galleria Plan Development Handbook. Right now, the handbook says you're limited to 12 nozzles, and they are requesting to change that to allow increased 18 positions. The Sparks Galleria Plan Development Handbook was approved by City Council. Oh, and also here, this request is coming from Costco. And on the map here, this is where Costco is. His would be Sparks Galleria. Up here would be Los Altos, and down here is Disc Drive. This map doesn't show the roads very well. Here's Pyramid Highway. The Sparks Galleria Plan Development Handbook was approved by City Council in June of 2004. There have been 2 amendments before this request tonight. The first one was in 2006. The second one was 2008. The request before you tonight is our 3rd amendment to this Plan Development Handbook. The existing Costco service station consists of 3 islands with 6 dispensers with a total of 12 fueling positions. This request is for a tentative and final approval for an amendment to the Sparks Galleria Handbook, Plan Development Handbook. The proposed amendment is a minor in scope and does not affect the integrity of the overall proposed or approved commercial and residential plan. Costco proposes to add 1 additional dispenser for each of the 3 islands, which would include 2 vehicle fueling positions. This will result in an additional 6 vehicle fueling positions for a total of 18. The land use table for the Sparks Galleria Plan Development Handbook, as you can see here, this request only is the amendment is actually one line in the table here, and what they're doing is asking to have a maximum of 18 fueling positions. So this amendment will only affect the Costco site, as you can see in this plan. It's this piece here. So it's only affecting that 2B, whatever. It's too many initials. So the plan amendment is only for page 7-148, and it's only this one line. Addressing the PD findings, amendment only affects the Costco service station and does not change the allowed uses, nor does it change the nature of the plan development. This amendment facilitates the Costco gas station to expand their existing operation to better serve their customers, providing an additional fueling option and new fueling positions, which will decrease the wait time for their customers. The adding of the fueling positions at the Costco gas station does not depart from zoning regulations, nor does it change the density of the plan development, nor does it expand. Even though this is an expansion, they will be adding to the canopy. to cover the additional fueling stations. It does not significantly change the size or the mass of the buildings on the property. The expansion of the gas station does not affect the existing landscaping and/or open space or the pedestrian and vehicular circulation of the site. Staff finds the proposed amendment complies with the plan development findings. To expedite the review of this minor amendment, this request also includes a final handbook approval concurrently. Based on the criteria of the Nevada Revised Statute, staff is of the opinion that the proposed amendment is in substantial compliance with the tentatively approved plan in the final draft handbook. It does not vary the proposed gross residential density, does not vary the proposed ratio of residential to non-residential use. It does not reduce the open space on the site. There is no increase in the floor area, though the canopy will be expanded to cover the fueling stations. And there is no increase in the total ground area covered by buildings, nor will there be a substantial change in the height of the buildings. There are no changes proposed in the final draft handbook. It's the staff's opinion that the final draft amendment for the Sparks Galleria Plan Development Standards Handbook does not substantially vary from the 5 criteria as I just stated and conforms with the tentative handbook. Due to this fact, the request of this amendment to record the final handbook, staff has determined the amendment should be reviewed as a public hearing, which you will be doing tonight. Staff recommends approval of the proposed amendment, the tentative and final amendments to the handbook. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the commissioner?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple.
Okay.
Karen, are they going to add diesel on, how many diesel are they going to add to it, pumps?
My understanding is they're going to add one fueling dispenser to each of the 3 islands. So we'll be adding 3 dispensers that have diesel, which would give you 2 on each dispenser.
And which direction are they going to add, to the west or to the east?
It'd be to the north.
North or south, yeah.
Yeah, the gas fueling stations are north-south oriented, so it's going to be on the north side.
Okay.
There's more space in the north. You
Yeah.
got to turn left. The south. You couldn't do it.
Yeah, it would
Exactly.
affect
You wouldn't
the
be able to do
exiting of the site.
Did we have a detail on that? I didn't see a detail. Did I? There's some in my staff report. I never saw it.
They did give me a site plan. I didn't include it because we're looking at the plan development handbook and not the
Oh, okay.
development.
Got it.
That's why I did not include it.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Would the,
And I also have the entire handbook if anybody's interested, but
Right.
this amendment only affects that one page.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, the applicant.
Would the applicant like to come forward and discuss their project?
It'll come on when you start talking.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name's Angelo Bologna with Barkhausen Consulting Engineers. And I also have David Rogers here in case with Costco Wholesale if you have any questions regarding the expansion or the modification to the handbook.
I think you could add another 20 and it wouldn't matter.
And we would like to be able to add diesel to all fueling positions if possible.
To add what?
Diesel to all fueling positions if possible,
Okay.
to answer your
So
question here.
Each of them, and then what you're going to do is go farther north, make another group, so you can have 3 cars start up instead of 2, is that?
3 per island, correct.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So we're going
Coming
to do
into the
that,
queue lane.
and then also, I didn't see, so we're going to also, the canopy's going to be brought farther to the north also.
Correct.
So
And
that's essentially what you do, just adding a third.
Third island, yeah.
And then possible.
Well, they also have to add the underground tank for the diesel storage.
Oh, exactly.
Different.
Which size tank, you know?
It's a 20,000-gallon diesel tank and a 1,500 diesel fuel additive tank.
Okay.
Okay, let's go
This
to
being a
hearing.
public hearing, is there anyone from the audience who'd like to make a public comment? Any
Bring it back.
Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the table. Any comments from the commissioners?
Well, I'd just like to say it makes common sense to put more in there. I, like many of you, go there and it doesn't feel like it gets in the way of anything, adding some more positions in there. So that's all I'd like to say.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay. Let's close the public.
No,
I think we closed.
we closed it.
We
We closed. So
I move to forward a recommendation for tentative and final approval of a request for an amendment to the Sparks Galleria Plan Development Handbook associated with PCN 15025, adopting findings PD1 through PD21, and the facts supporting those findings as set forth in the staff report. Because the request includes final approval, the Planning Commission does not recommend that the City Council require a bond at this time, as stated in NRS 278A.490.
Second?
Any more comments? Let's call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, lights. Thank you.
next item.
Next item on the agenda is item PCN 15027. Ian Crittenden? Ian, welcome, our newest planner. Mr. Crittenden.
Planning Commissioners, I'm Ian Crittenden, Senior Planner. This is a special use permit to allow a recreational use in an industrial zone. It is an airsoft arena is the proposed use. It's the current use at the location. I'll bring up some pictures of the it was a warehouse that was used as a furniture store, and they are proposing to, this is the existing improvements inside of the warehouse. There is most of it is an open warehouse. There's a storage unit towards the south end. Is it the south end? Trying to get my bearings and remember which end it is. That is the owner uses that as storage, and that's the way it will continue. Their tenant improvements are to add a lobby, a little bit of retail sales for things related to airsoft, and then the most of that is going to be an open arena for them to play airsoft. If you don't know, airsoft is kind of like paintball, but with no paint. You know, little plastic pellets that they shoot at each other in kind of military style games. So, staff reviewed this. The only real potential issue is parking. The entertainment or what's the recreation requirement is very high, and I know that there have been a number of these kind of recreational uses go into the industrial buildings, softball, volleyball, those kind of things, and they just don't have the same demand as you would if it were an arcade or some other recreational use, which is kind of what the parking requirements are built for. The applicant did do not a professional level parking study, but did do a very thorough evaluation of what their parking needs were going to be, looking at the number of sessions they were going to have a day, the number of participants they'd have per session, and the spacing or the time they'd give between those sessions. After reviewing their parking analysis or their analysis of their demand for parking, staff feels like this is there's adequate parking over there. The other piece that plays into that is that most of the people that are participating are drop-offs. They're kids that are younger than the driving age, so their parents are dropping them off and picking them up. So there really shouldn't be a lot of overlap between sessions, and the demand for parking throughout the day should be fairly low. The one point at which there may be a higher demand for parking is they do work with law enforcement for training exercises, and law enforcement will probably take a lot more parking than anybody else, but they will probably be an all-day event when they do that, and so they'll address those needs as they come up.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Quigley?
Is this the only facility in Washoe County like this?
That I don't know.
It's the only facility within all of northern Nevada and northern California. Those are this location is open.
Would you like to come up, sir? Thank you.
You're the applicant, right, Ray? So why don't we bring you
Yeah.
up? I figured.
Welcome.
I appreciate you coming up. I'll answer as many questions as I can.
So probably-
Chairman, members of the commission, I'm Ray, for the record. Thank you.
Been a while, Ray. How are you?
So, yeah, so back to your question.
Yeah,
Ray?
so the nearest one is
Yes, the
Oakland, you
Bay
said?
Area is the
Bay
closest
Area? Okay.
place that you could do this thing.
So there ought to be a lot of use for it there.
I think there will be a lot
Okay.
of use for this.
Were there any other questions?
Yeah,
for
I
staff?
wanted to, okay, so what I read in this thing, and this is correct, Ray, so it looks like then you're take hour break between groups that go in there to allow to keep the parking down, is that what?
Correct.
To allow it.
To allow them to come out and the next group to come in.
Right, so if we got parents coming in and come in and out, and you won't have that much, and that's why you feel we should lower the parking
Correct.
requirements, is that
Correct.
right? So it's that, and they do go during the day on this thing, and weekends when do they do
I wish Chris
this?
was
Do you
here.
know?
I think basically it's the evenings and the weekends and things of that nature. And I'm glad he was brought up because the law enforcement will use this as training facilities also. It gives them an opportunity to involve themselves in target practice and working interactive with respect to live personnel and things of that nature. So, and I believe that they will take over for the whole day when they do their training. And they will be the biggest part of parking. They will be used most
Yeah.
parking.
And so really, what are the ages of the people normally that?
You know,
go to
the
this?
age group, when I talked to Chris about this, it can be everywhere from,
Yeah.
8, 9 years old up to 65, 70 years old.
Right.
So it's going to be a big cross-section. But I think most of the kids, as mentioned, will be dropped off. And they have birthday party rooms set up so they can have these events with young kids and things of that nature. It's kind of an attractive opportunity for young people to get involved in stuff. And like I said, there's nothing in the area. This will be the first one. Will be
Right.
unique to that one.
Yes.
This is the audio.
Our news minister.
I have one question. Actually, in reviewing this, I noticed I too was concerned about the parking, and everything seemed to be explained. In fact, I thought you were going to do it in shifts, weren't you going to have it so? But the only thing that I have about it by experience, I would not rely too much on the drop-off. I really wouldn't, because they have a tendency to all of a sudden come all at one time in cars for a stay. That's the only objection I have. I just don't know if we can depend on the drop-off so much that they can relieve the parking situation. That's my opinion. Because there will be days that they will come through. Then also on the days that you have the police academies using that, they will be closed to the public events.
That is
right?
correct.
Yeah, okay.
That is correct.
Ray, I have a question.
Sure.
The off of Glendale, this is a private drive.
Yes.
Private drive is owned by the owners of this property as well as the properties on the other side of the private drive?
I believe so. That is correct. I know they do this one. I'm not sure on the, this is a Kazaza property.
I know, I can't remember.
It's a Kazaza kids, basically, the daughter.
So obviously, given what was in there before versus what's in there now, there's going to be a lot more use on that private drive. I have not, and I should have, and I have not gone out there and driven that, which I usually do before a meeting. But is there any issues that we need to contemplate about the condition of that private drive or the condition going forward?
I don't think so. I mean, the vehicle or traffic is going to have is basically just resident, cars, basically. They're not going to be heavy traffic, where before there was warehouse uses, so there were heavier traffic and things of that nature with heavier loads and things of that nature. So I don't see a problem with respect to those.
I have a question for staff. Did we hear from neighbors?
No, I have received no input from the community.
Okay. Thank you, Ian.
I have a question for Ray.
Sure.
I know you're an old landscape buff, huh? Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. One of the conditions, it calls for updating and intensifying the current landscape. Do you have any idea what you might be doing, and do you need to add irrigation, or?
No, I don't think it'd be adding any irrigation, but they'll be, they're trying to beautify and make the building
Right.
look a little nicer than it was, because it's going to be more public building rather than a warehouse. So they're trying to enhance the appearance of the outside, and so they'll be looking at that a little closer. But I don't think they're looking to
Probably
take on additional
drought-tolerant
water.
plants.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're going to use the normal, to keep down the tolerance for water.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Right, it looks like existing is on the south side, and there's existing.
Correct.
And
But it's more a warehouse type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Commissioner Camerata, speaking with the city attorney, can we take a 5-minute recess?
Sure.
Something for staff to go over.
So,
Sure.
using that, that's
Sure.
6, let's close the public meeting at 6:25 and bring everyone back into chambers at 6:30. 5-minute recess, please. Thank you. 027.
Did either council or Jim want to speak?
So is there- Okay, so then we're going to go back to staff, please.
Okay, thank you.
The issue that came up, and Jim caught it, was our special use permit doesn't really have a mechanism for allowing us to reduce the parking to the degree that we're talking about. And so we're going to have to work out with the applicant a way to address that parking, whether that's through a parking agreement or hours of operations. We can work that out. We drafted an additional condition to the conditions of approval. It basically states that, I can read it to you. It says, the applicant shall supply parking in compliance with Sparks Municipal Code, parking requirements to the approval of the administrator prior to issuance of a building permit. So that allows them to receive approval at this level from the Planning Commission, and then to work out the nitty-gritty of these parking requirements, whether they can get a parking agreement with adjacent landowners or something prior to us issuing a building permit, because they do have tenant improvements. So that allows them to get approval tonight and then have administrative approval on the rest of it.
So it'll be condition 8?
Yeah, it'll be condition 8.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Planner Crittenden.
Anything
would the
else?
applicant like to add?
Yeah, the applicant's okay with that. We've spoke with them also, and we understand. And as long as we're given the opportunity to work on that after this hearing, I think we can get that put together.
Okay.
Thank you.
You don't have any worry about getting it straightened out, then, the parking?
Correct.
After this board approves,
That is correct. Prior to getting a building permit.
prior to building permit?
So you still have the opportunity to not move ahead.
Okay, thank you. This being a public hearing, are there any,
Open the public hearing.
we want to open a public hearing for public comment?
Any-
Anyone like to come forward? Okay,
Let's close that.
we'll close that. Bring it back to the commissioners for comments.
prepared to make a motion. I move to approve the special use permit associated with PCN 15027, adopting findings S1 through S6 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, subject to the conditions of approval 1 through 8 as listed in the staff report.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good luck with your project.
Appreciate working with you.
Thank you.
Motion is approved. Thank you.
Okay, third item, PCN.
We have a third item on our agenda. Item PCN 12022.
All right, Commissioners, I'm Ian Crittenden, Senior Planner. This item is one that you've seen a couple of times, I believe.
Yes.
It is for the Legends Bay Casino, Hotel Casino Resort. I believe it was February, February, there was a one-year extension given to the project. They came in with a request for an amendment to the special use permit, and all they're amending is the site layout. It is currently one parcel, and they want to split it into three for funding reasons. It allows them to be more flexible in their funding and so forth. And so you can see on here that this was all one large parcel, and they want to split it into three parcels, one for each of the hotels and one for the casino. This doesn't affect any of the previous conditions, barring one. If you looked through it, there's a lot of information. I had to read through a very large file in trying to prepare for this one, and the one thing that we caught, and we caught it today, was that I had pulled, and I had purposely pulled all the original conditions from the approval of special use permit so that it was very apparent to everything that all the conditions stayed the same, the development's not changing in any substantive manner. This is just an on-paper changing of some parcels so that they can move forward. But the one that I didn't catch was the expiration date of their special use permit, and that expiration. We drafted a new condition number 2. If I know how to use this thing right. There you go. And it basically just states that the expiration date of the special use permit will be on February 5th, 2016, which is 1 year from the 1-year extension that was previously approved. So that's an adjustment that we'll need to make to that motion.
Okay.
Okay,
Are there any questions from the dais?
And maybe I'll ask if there's an applicant some questions, but the first thing is, what you're saying, the amendment will give a year from today's date?
No,
from the original?
It doesn't
And that was the question I was concerned. We're not giving additional time
This
here.
doesn't affect the
Good.
approval timeframes.
That's what I was concerned with, is that we didn't just bring this longer and longer, that we're just using the same thing and just looking at property lines and saying all conditions are the same as what you're saying. So this would be that extension, this is during the extension of 1 year? Do we need a break?
I think we might.
Okay.
Okay, using clock on the wall, let's take a break. 5-minute break.
We're just trying to determine.
You saw it.
Well, I didn't want to make my, so I wanted to make sure it was,
Thank you,
you know. It's actually, it's a major issue to them, but it's a minor change to what we were proposing. I had run the expiration date from the date of approval of the extension, when it really should have been the date of the approval of the original special use permit. The original special use permit was approved on March 21st of 2013, and so that should be the date in 2015 that the extension started from, and so it's 1 year from there. So that's the issue.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're in
It's a 1 year extension.
It was a 1 year extension.
that we granted last time is that,
Yeah.
that final 1 year.
Yes.
So it's from that date, and so you're going to write in the condition the actual date
Yeah.
of the extension being which date again? Exactly. Gotcha.
To remove the existing condition number 2 and replace it with this one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
These guys didn't wait till the absolute last second to ask for an extension. They did it in kind of a timely manner
Within the,
and responsibly, and so.
Are there,
got it.
are there any other questions for staff? Shall we bring the applicant forward, please?
Thank you.
Please.
Rob Heisel, representing Rubicon Design Group, getting my billable hour in.
Rob.
We do have a representative from Olympia Gaming here who can answer any questions with regards to the project itself. The staff report is absolutely correct. They're asking for this lot split for financial reasons. 2 of the parcels will be occupied by the hotels, and the third will be occupied by the casino and a large majority of the parking. And with that, I'll try to answer any questions.
So presumably for different financing and background, I imagine.
Rob, I can understand the financial part of it, but in here it says, it also provides benefits in terms of operating and maintenance agreements between the hotel flags and franchises. Will you explain that?
Actually, I'd refer that to the Olympia representative. He's more knowledgeable about the agreements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.
DC Graham, Olympia Gaming. Good evening,
Right.
Commissioners. Go ahead with your question again.
I understand the financial reasons,
Yes.
by splitting into 3 parcels, but it also says it provides benefits in terms of operating and maintenance agreements between the hotel flags / franchises.
Actually, there's not a considerable change there between them. It just, we have unique hotel brands or flags. We have a Marriott flag and a Hilton
Right.
flag.
Mhm.
So although we maintain ownership in all components as the master developer of this piece,
So maybe there'd be 3 maintenance agreements, or?
well, there's a master, the shopping center itself has an OEA that sits on top of it
Right.
regardless. So that covers everything with Red Development and the other owners in the center. It's possible this could help, but the ownership as it relates to the hotels and the casino are probably going to be slightly different. They'll be different entities. So that is potentially could help, but it's unclear totally if it will.
Okay, great. I appreciate
can't.
that. It just kind of caught my eye, and
Yeah.
I didn't really understand the way it was worded, how it.
Yeah, but the primary purpose is the aspects is the fact that the hotels will be handled under a separate financing with a different lender than the casino component. So this way we have security of each parcel as that for the financing or the lenders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Graham.
Yes.
I have a question for Graham as well. I'm not sure that's even in our purview or that we would care, but if we do this, does it make it
Easier, if you wish to, in the future, to sell one of those parcels and maintain ownership of the other 2?
No, not really. It doesn't. We maintain ownership in each piece. So I don't foresee it having much difference in that regard. I mean, it's our intent at this time to maintain ownership and everything. So I'm not looking ahead to selling any components, so I really can't speak to that at this point.
And the special use permit would run with the land. That's actually something I should have included in when I was discussing this. The whole reason that this split actually had to come to Planning Commission is because special use permits run with the land that they're granted on.
Right.
And because it was granted on a single piece, once you split those, it goes away if they don't amend it to say, look, we want it to apply to all three of these pieces. So that's the reason it's here. Now, what that'll do as well is even if they were to sell one of these pieces soon or far in the future, the special use permit and the conditions to it will stay intact. They're not going because of change of ownership. And so there may be a concern, but the concern of it, the special use permit and all the conditions will be still in place. And
will these three parcels create additional roadways?
Roadways?
There were roads that were to be developed when this development, when the buildings come in and stuff, and that'll still be in place.
Okay, so it's not creating anything.
No, it doesn't change anything to the design that was previously approved. It just changes the orientation of the actual parcels of land.
So these conditions now go with these three parcels will be attached to all three, rather attached to one. So as far from a legal standpoint, that's fine with?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to do this to you this evening.
Yeah.
This is kind of a unique situation in terms of
I know.
the gaming. Would you give kind of a 30,000-foot overview of what's going on?
Do you want me to address the issue of how the gaming license component?
Yeah, how your state gaming license is unique, and then why you still need a special use permit here in Sparks.
Okay. Doug's referencing is we have a gaming license, an active gaming license that sits here at this point in time. And that gaming license is a non-restricted gaming license that allows us to open a casino with no rooms. On the other hand, we have a special use permit, which is carrying on the land, which we are held to building 201 rooms, which is what is in this plan and design, and it's always been in this plan and design. So we understand there's two parts, and we are abiding by the special use permit associated with the project. So therefore, the two hotels of 100 and slightly over 100 rooms each.
So for the special use permit, you will have to have the rooms.
Correct.
Still.
That
That's
doesn't
what
change.
I wanted to make sure, so we're still keeping that, because I know how we move the license and this and that. Okay, great, so we're keeping all the conditions in the whole.
Yes, and I think with what's going on in the region, the need for the hotel component is actually becoming more and more critical to this project than it ever was before.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to building the rooms.
Right. So just
Terrific.
as a summary of what's going on is
Right.
that, traditionally, under state law, you would be required to have a hotel component for a non-restricted gaming enterprise. But Olympia has a grandfathered license that doesn't have such a requirement.
Right.
So the requirement in the context of this project comes solely from the Plan Development Handbook and the special use permit that you're considering tonight.
Exactly.
Which has already been approved, and we're continuing with the three parcels.
Right. And so even though technically under state law, Olympia doesn't need the rooms, they do need the rooms for the project here.
Exactly. That's what I want to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Are we bringing the parrot up from Fandango over here?
The parrot hasn't been running in a while. We've remodeled some things, and the track doesn't quite work with us anymore, so maybe. No, it's good.
Any other comments from the commissioners?
Open public hearing.
This being a public hearing, is there anyone from the audience that would like to come forward and speak?
Close the public.
Close the public comment and bring it back to the commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve the amendment to special use permit SP 120009 associated with PCN 12022, adopt findings S1 through S6, and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, subject to the conditions of approval 1, with condition number 2 amended as proposed through condition 31 as listed in this staff report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? The motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you. Have a great night.
This being a public hearing.
Public comment.
A public comment is a general comment. It's limited to any items that do not appear on the agenda and is limited to no more than 3 minutes for each commentator pursuant to NRS 241020. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item until the matter has been specifically included as an agenda item. Would anyone like to come forward and make a public comment? We're going to close that public comment. Comments from the commissioners?
I'd like to make a comment. I think this last item we looked at had some complications, and I think there are times to have planning sessions, and I would like staff to look at whether we have planning. It would have been study sessions. I think in this case, there was some items that I had some concerns, and we could have maybe resolved these before the meeting. Could you pass it on, please?
I'd like to welcome our new commissioner.
Any other comments? Thank you. That being said,
I'll move to adjourn.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.